Yeah.
You don't have your big, huge sweater.
No.
Grand reveal. Ta-da!
Good morning.
Good morning. I was listening for the clackety clacketies and I didn't hear the clackety clacketies. But good morning. Welcome to the Sun Dragon Sideshow.
The Dear Becky and Lizzy edition.
That's right. I forgot this morning what morning it was. I was posting my morning meditation and I hit post. And then I said it was Wednesday. It's not Wednesday. I'm getting over a migraine, everybody. So this is me stuck on my mask, but this is me post migraine, like in the hazy recovery, like the hangover from a migraine is like both euphoric because you actually feel like you're almost in one piece and a little fuzzy. So Liz gets to deal with that today. Hi, I'm Rebecca. I'm the owner. I remember.
Remember.
This is part of what if you watched yesterday. She had to remind me. That meant it was coming. I'm the owner of Sun Dragon Art and Fiber in hazy, burning off the haze. Probably gonna be nice, right?
I think so. I haven't looked.
Brevard, North Carolina.
I'm Liz. I'm the minion there.
Yeah. So yeah, it didn't get super cold overnight.
No.
And so I didn't need to run the heat and I opened the windows. It kind of got chilly to open the windows to let some fresh air in, but I'm hoping my cat will be appeased by that so he can chitter at the wildlife outside. Wildlife. I was going to tell y'all, I have stories because I was going to tell y'all on Tuesday and then I forgot. Probably because the migraine was coming. And then yesterday I wasn't going to tell him because there are some people who don't watch the VSC, but I think it's all entertaining, even if it's yarn you can't buy because you're overseas. But you know, that's me. I'm not the overseas people. Shout out to Jan.
Or you're here and you have enough yarn, or you think you have enough yarn. And
no, I'm talking about some people don't watch the VSC because they can't buy our stuff.
Yeah, and some people here in the States don't watch the VSC because they don't want to be tempted.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. Okay. Let's see, we show you the stuff the next day anyway. It's so squishy and soft. And shout out to Lily Kate. Lily Kate commented on our video yesterday and I'm super excited. And I'm gonna okay, hang on. Let's have the nice label side showing. I'm gonna make a Mountain Mist hat out of these colors. We talked about 2 different color combos yesterday. I know I'm getting sidetracked. Hang on, I'll get there. But
it's not a thing.
This is like in between the 2 combos we showed yesterday. Like I had the dark blue here and I'm going to put the dark green in instead. And you had like the dark blue and the dark green but you stopped.
I mean, there's so many color combos.
There are, and we'll probably make a kit of this and maybe we'll make a kit of the 2 combos we talked about yesterday. We have to decide how much of the yarn we want to kill for a kit because it will go home with people in a kit rather than by itself. It's a thing that we struggle with all the time. So anyway, I was going to start this yesterday, but migraine. So stay tuned. Maybe by next Tuesday.
Home and died.
Yeah. I went home and lay down and thought about heating up dinner. And then maybe a couple hours later, like dinner helped, but even just heating up the leftovers for dinner was hard to do.
I went home and I sat down and Bernie was like, are you going to sit before you cook? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, okay. So
I would have been like, why don't you cook? But
well, he goes outside and, does his outside stuff because he has his things.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like 7:00 and I've got part of dinner in the oven and part of dinner was still kind of frozen. And he looks at me and he goes, hey, I got a farm sit. And I'm like, okay. Dinner's going to take another 15 minutes from right now. And he goes, I said, what time do you leave? And he goes, well, sunset's at 7:20 because chickens. And I don't know. He's got to put the chickens up before sunset.
Okay. But what time was this when
at 7:00?
Oh,
and I'm like, I have 15 more minutes before, dinner's about done. And
so you can eat real fast.
Yeah. And he kind of looked at me and went, well, I got to leave at 7:20. And I'm like, or before 7:20. And I'm like,
before 7:20, that's different.
Okay. So I wound up pulling the potatoes out of the oven And I'm like, just go now and text me when you're on your way home, and I'll finish dinner then.
So you had late dinner.
So we had a late dinner too.
So I'm gonna make a hat out of this. I'm gonna like use up all the axes. You guys better buy some before I use it all up in my projects. Someone made a sweater. I think I said this yesterday, but migraine. I can't remember anything right now. Someone made a version of Lily Kate's sweater, one of her sweaters, in this, the love number and the event horizon. And I don't want to be a copycat. I'm not going to make that sweater, but I might have to use this color combo for something because it's just divine. It's calling my name. That's a problem because I have too many projects on needles. But okay, wildlife.
Squirrel.
I have wildlife. I'm getting back. I just scrolled. I'm getting back on track. So, so I want to say it was Monday. I'm getting ready to film my tips and tricks. And I've basically, it sounds almost like there's a knocking on the French doors in the downstairs room where I'm filming right now, which, by the way, if you're watching the tips and tricks and the morning meditations, I'm filming at my desk, which is a little cluttered, but I like the dark surface background of it. But then there's not much room to take pictures and stuff. So let me know what you think. I've got the white grid upstairs and I've got the dark surface downstairs. And I'm still deciding, like, I've been too lazy. I mean, I say lazy, I have too much going on to move my lights back upstairs. But if you prefer the upstairs location, let me know and I'll truck things back up there. I can't make a decision right now. But I hear what sounds like something kind of hitting the window. And I thought it was the cat from the inside seeing animals outside and but there's such a pile of crap in that room that it's hard to get to the French doors over there. So I see no cat when I look over. And by the time I can scramble over the piles and look out, there's a white squirrel running away. So I was visited by a white squirrel. That's my first thing. If you haven't been to Brevard, they are a thing in Brevard. Like it's what we're somewhat known for. And if we're not, if you come to Brevard and haven't heard of this, you will see it. It'll be in your face everywhere when you come here.
Sometimes they hide. Like we've had.
No. I'm not talking about the actual white squirrels. I'm talking about the fact that white squirrels are here will be shoved in your face. But yes, you're right. Sorry.
Yeah.
The white squirrels themselves can be elusive little suckers. My parents, their first visit here, never saw one. The whole long weekend they were here. And then they went and hunted them down the next time they were here. Not to kill them. That makes it sound like they went out with a warring tribe party. Can you imagine your parents?
Be very, very quiet. We're hunting white squirrels.
They went and stalked them at the college and finally got to see some. And I've seen one down by the lake, which you have to crawl through someone else's property to get to the lake from my house. But there was one on my back porch, and
Rebecca
before I could take
crawling through shrubbery.
no, it's down a very steep hill, and the only way down the hill is to cut through someone's property. So I've only done it once with one of my neighbors, and since then I'm like, heck no, because I don't want someone to sick their dogs on me. Anyway, I digress. So I saw basically the butt of a white squirrel, but it was really cute because they are. So white squirrel sighting on my actual property. That was lovely. And then I had to go into town, and on my way home, I'm driving home on my street. I'm about there's a loop to get to my house, but the beginning of the loop, when you're really I still had a ways to drive, but I'm really only about 3 houses away from my house. As I'm driving, there's lots of deer. I live in the middle of the forest, basically. It's a development gated community, but there's lots of forest and tons of deer. But this time I'm driving along and I see something moving up ahead of me and in the road, and it's black. I saw a bear.
It's a bear.
She wants to see a bear.
I have not seen a bear.
You have not seen a bear in this neighborhood, or this area at all? Ever?
Nope. One ran through my in-laws' yard. We were gone. One has been sighted in our neighborhood. I was gone.
Mm-hmm.
I do have hope to see a bear because one of our neighbors said there was a bear pulling a cooler of deer meat away from the house up into the
I was
woods.
like, the bear has a 6-pack. It's
Yeah.
taken into the woods.
And then a mom and her cubs have been hanging out around the house.
It made me want to clean out the inside of my car a little better when I got home. But
I told Bernie we probably need to pull the trash into the basement, and then got out of the car and left it open because, you know.
Was it still there?
The car?
The trash.
I don't know, Bernie. I don't know whether
Yeah.
you pulled it in or not. I didn't pay much attention this morning.
Car is still there because you.
Car was still
this
there.
was this morning. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I would say, I mean, I'm not good at estimating size or weight or anything, but if I had to guess, it was probably an adolescent, because it kind of like looked up and saw my car. I slowed way down, looked up, saw the car, and was like, oh crap, and like bounded off into the forest. And as I'm driving by the spot where he left, I could see him in the distance kind of being like doo, 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 doo. And
bigger bears don't care about the cars or people.
Maybe. Yeah, but
much.
Or they might not run as fast, or they'll be like, yeah, you do your thing, I'll do mine. It wasn't a cub, it was like, this is the size it like when I think about seeing something down the road, not real size, but like cub, adults, this seemed in between. We call it an adolescent, right? It was cute. It ran away way too fast for me to think about grabbing for my phone, and I also was driving. I was trying to be a safe driver. So I was trying to sear it in my brain, instead of, ooh, where's the phone? Let's take a picture.
See a bear.
But it was right across from the road that, like, I do the loop around my house, and then there's a side street where you can do another big loop. And it was right across from that side street. So it was not far from my house. And I was just like, oh, a bear. And I'm thinking about the people who live between me and where the bear was, and like, did you know there's a bear in your backyard? But I'm not really friends with them, so but I saw a bear. I was very excited because I was safe in my car. I was very excited.
Just for those of you who are watching, and the reason to lock your car doors if there are bears in this area and some other areas.
I don't lock my car doors, but yes,
the new door handles that you can put your hands in and pull out.
I have those.
Bears can get into those.
Bears can get into those. I do have scratches on my handles, like, but not big gashes like bears, probably just more me from my fingernails. So so I've heard stories of from insurance people about, like, kind of darned if you do and darned if you don't.
It is.
If you don't lock your doors, and they're the kind that bears can just, no opposable thumbs are needed to get into, the bear is going to get in your car. If you lock your door and there's something in the car that the bear wants to get to, they will just rip your car apart. And they will find a way in. So just clean out your car. Well, that's the easiest thing. Try to not leave things that smell nice in your car.
One of the stories that I saw on the news last year, and it happened in Asheville, so we're just outside of Asheville. A lady had left the car open, but it was pristine on the inside. Like, the only thing she had in the car that remotely looked like food was a sealed power bar and empty gum foil.
That's food.
Like, that's it. So it wasn't like, she had McDonald's.
Was she in like downtown Asheville?
Downtown Asheville has bears.
Well, I know, but usually they're not spending that much time rooting through people's cars.
The car was unlocked. It popped the door handle, got in, and the door closed behind it because it was sitting on just an angle.
And then they can't get out.
And it totaled the inside of her car, like ate the steering wheel. I
do want to have a disclaimer on this. Like, don't let this keep you from coming to visit our area, because these are rare stories.
Yeah.
But just clean your car out. Don't leave crap. I have wrappers in my car. I thought about that. Apparently it wasn't enough to entice a bear. It was these little coconut Nutri-Grain. The bear probably went, whatever. But
you don't want healthy food.
This is not going to sustain me for any length. Like a power bar, yes. This crap, no. Our houses are really close together. I could see it being in the forest, but not necessarily wanting to come up between the houses, But I'm not done yet. And then we need to get to our Dear Becky and Lizzy question.
Yes,
right?
we do.
Yes, we do. But the most fun story I have is, those were just like momentary sightings. A few nights back, I heard the cat running around the house, and I'm like, okay, he's prowling for another mouse, but I didn't hear anything more that would get me out of bed. And I was just like, let's just let him have his fun. And then 2 nights ago, It was Monday night, I want to say, because I came in ready to tell the story Tuesday, but we ran out of time. Or maybe it was Tuesday night, but
Okay.
I wasn't going to tell the story on Wednesday. I don't know. Recently, this week, I heard squeaking in the bedroom again with the cat, and I was just like, oh, he's got a mouse. And that could be fine if he would do his job and dispatch of it. But I don't let him go outside, so he can't take it outside. And if he kills it in the house, I've since learned I don't think he actually wants to kill them. But that then
They're friends.
But then no, they're not.
They're squeaky toys.
Yes. He's really excited when the ones shaped like his toys actually like play with him and make noise. So I heard the squeakies and I'm like, oh boy. And I knew I didn't have anything in the vicinity to try to like trap this mouse. But I also knew if he was going to mess with it all night, I was going to get no sleep, and he was probably going to drop it somewhere where it was going to not be found because I have too much crap in the extra rooms of my house, and then bad things. So I turn on the light, and he is by one of these. I have a box that my scale came in propped up on something else. Like, so there's just a little bit of room underneath, and he's circling it. And I'm like, oh crap, it's under the box. And I turn on my light, and he's just like, hey mom, you're going to join the hunt, right? Come on, let's get it. And he's circling the box. And I lift up the box, not really sure what I'm going to do next. And I see this little thing about this big dart under the bed. And he goes right after it. And within seconds, he runs out from under the bed and down the stairs. And I was just like, he couldn't have given up that fast. He must have caught it. And I look over the railing down the stairs, and he's looking up at me. I swear there was nothing in his mouth, but the mouse is like the same color as him. I swear there was nothing in his mouth. So I was just like, he didn't catch it. I'm like, I'm checking all over. I go downstairs. No, he's got it. And he's being very territorial. Like, I'm trying to get it out of his jaws. And he's just like, no, mom.
I've played this game before.
And then he'll drop it. And it looks like it's dead. It absolutely looked like it was dead in his mouth. And I'm like, I have to get rid of it now, cat. Come on. And he was dodging me. He was just like, oh, now we're going to play like keep away from mom. This is great. Like, and he's jumping towards my bags of yarn. And I was like, no, none of my projects. And under the couch. And I'm like, oh, that's going to smell later. And like, we raced around the downstairs of the house. I want to say this is at like 2 a.m, maybe 3.
Couldn't possibly be at a normal hour.
Of course. Well, mice aren't friends you play with in the middle of the day. I mean,
they might be, and you just don't know.
That's true. I'm not home, but when I'm home during the day, like the one day a week I'm home, he's just like, eh. Yeah. So, there's so many times I was like, oh no, don't drop it there. And the few times that he did drop it, like it's in his, like what I can see when I look at the cat is the underbelly of this little mouse. And he's like, and he looks really dead. And then the second that he's dropped by the cat, he's just like, oh, I'm okay. I'm going to try to jump. I'm going to try to run away. And the cat's just like, nope. and finally, like the cat is not happy I'm doing this. But finally I found a Ziploc bag and I got it out of his, and I'm yanking on this mouse. So the mouse is not 100% shape. But I can't, there's nothing gory about this, but I'm just like, the mouse cannot be in good shape. This cannot, like hanging out in a cat's mouth as he runs around. But the instant I get the mouse into the Ziploc bag, he's just kind of like hopping around in the bag, like, okay, I'm ready to go. Let me go. And I'm just like, no, not in the house. So yet again, in my little night dress, bare feet, running across to the island, across like no lights, because I don't want anyone to see that. I mean, if anyone is up at the same time, they've seen the lights go on and off all throughout the house as I'm chasing this cat. And I had to shake him out of the Ziploc bag. He either joined his friend who was there from last week, or he's the same mouse. Who knows? But he didn't really look damaged. I'm sure like there's internal injuries and stuff. I actually saw someone on Facebook who was like, I'm trying to find someone to rehab a wounded mouse I have. And I'm like, I just flung mine outside and said, oh, well, like, I feel bad now, but I'm not rehabbing this mouse. I'm sorry, but I don't want to kill animals, but
my theory is something that eats mice has taken up home on the
island
across the and it's
driveway.
like look,
It's
it's
like, look, I'm
dinner
being
time.
negative.
The lights are on.
And I feel bad, but at the same time, like, I don't know. I'm not gonna nurse this mouse that my cat has mauled back to health. So and I ran back inside, and the cat, when I come back inside, I'm actually surprised the cat was just like, where'd you go? But he didn't really look pissed at me. He was like a little disgruntled. But later that night he jumped up on the bed and didn't rip my face off. So I think we're okay. Like, he's like, okay, we had our fun. We're done now. It wasn't like, where's my prize? Like, I was worried about that. But so this is like the second time in 2 weeks, because I think it was last Thursday I was telling the last story. So either the cat is doing his job and we're slowly dwindling down the mouse population in my house, or the same mouse is coming back, or his whole family is just having too much fun with us. I don't know.
Avi
Stay tuned.
Has mice pen pals. Hey, come play with me.
Stay tuned to next week to see if this happens again. I'm trying to get more sleep. Things are impeding with me getting more sleep, but I'm trying. What's our question? Waking
me up in the middle of dreams. It's not fun.
Anyway, but yes, I kept that loosely connected to yarn, because I was like, the whole time I was going, not in that bag, not in that project. No. Yeah. I think that means I need to clean up my projects better. But I live by myself. I mean, if you don't count the cat, so I can do what I want. What's our question for today?
Well, it was a question that I responded to.
Oh, that's right. And that was the question that mystified you.
And then I got a reply, and then you replied. And so I'm going to read the whole thread, because it's, I don't know.
Head.
Dear Becky and Lizzy, why is Monday the worldwide yarn Sabbath? I don't have a creative signature.
Thank you for the question. I don't have a creative signature, but Liz is not done yet.
To which I replied back, I was unaware there was such a thing. Could you send me a link or a screenshot, because I can't proofread
fat fingers
of where you saw that.
Okay, prefacing. And then I answered to clarify things, but what did you think when you got that email?
I thought it was a holiday, like
she thought
local
there was
yarn
like
store day,
like this
Monday,
upcoming Monday must
like
be yarn
everybody's
Sabbath day.
taking a break from yarn, and I'm like, what? Like, I hadn't.
And my interpretation. You want to read the reply, or I'll?
Well, she replied back to me before you replied.
But she replied only to you. I didn't see it.
Oh. She replied, oh, whoops, my bad. I just call Mondays the yarn Sabbath because all yarn shops are closed on Mondays, i.e. businesses will traditionally close on Sundays, the typical Sabbath, but yarn shops are always closed on Mondays, hence why I call Mondays the yarn Sabbath.
I guess that's what she meant.
She guessed that. I didn't. So a rephrase of my question, is there a reason all yarn shops close on Monday rather than Sundays like most other businesses?
I'm going to address that in a second, but what, you want to read my reply, or?
Well, I replied back, Rebecca knew what you meant. I was on Google looking for some event happening this Monday. It's a good question, and we will do our best to answer.
I mean, my answer is what we can talk about. You don't have to read my answer. Okay. Because I took it as, it's Sabbath, day of rest, right? And that she was asking, like, it seems like in her travels or in her Googling and things, like she said, a lot of yarn shops are not open on Mondays. Like, we take it as a day of rest, is what she is entitling it. We should call it the Sabbath now. I love it.
Wait, when is this happening? Oh my gosh, a day without yarn. I don't think I can do that.
I mean, I don't actually take a day of rest on Monday, but the shop is not open, right? And that's what she's addressing. Yeah. She's like, but people take Sunday off. But why do so many yarn shops seem to not be open on Monday? By the way, a lot of our town is heading in the same direction, or already was in the same direction as we are. Like, the other businesses on our plaza are not open on Monday.
Yeah.
And other businesses are starting to shift in that direction. I don't think it's because of us. but I think it is a new movement. It kind of sucks to be in this town on a Monday right now. There's not much that's open.
Or after 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
at
well,
night.
we're a small town. We roll up the sidewalks. But like you have limited options if you come here on a Monday. So for me, the reason that we're not open on a Monday is because the yarn shop where I got my training, the yarn shop where I was baby raised to run my own yarn shop, where I was kind of like a Liz, was not open on Monday. I mean, so I don't know if that's, going back generations, this is what we've been taught, but it's giving ourselves a weekend per se. A lot of businesses will do that. They may pick different days to be shut down, but the idea of a 5-day work week, it's funny because a lot of people don't consider that retail needs this too. Like, because in essence, we are retail.
Yeah.
I mean, a yarn shop will be so many more things for so many people. It's kind of like the barber shop and the everything rolled up into one, right? And the bar and the everything like rolled up into one. But at the end of the day, we are a retail business. We are selling you things, right? We provide community, but we have to sell that stuff if we're going to stay in business, if we're going to be able to provide that community. So we're retail.
I remember right after you opened and we were talking to one of the other small businesses across the street who was closed on different days other than Sunday and Monday.
Mhm.
And because we're a tourist town, a lot of places want to be open for the weekend because that's when a lot of tourism happens.
Mhm.
And locals coming in.
And locals who work a 9 to 5 during the week don't have a chance to shop during the week.
Yeah. So his focus was like he was open Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then took Tuesday
right?
off.
Mhm.
And just so that locals and tourism and whatnot, you
Mhm.
get a better weekend. And we were open Saturday, Sunday, and we took
we
Monday.
were doing Sunday afternoons.
Yeah.
Like during the busy times, Monday was the only day we took.
Yeah.
Like when she's addressing in her email, Sunday is the day of rest. Like a lot of businesses will close Sunday, and she's saying, why do yarn shops seem to do Monday? Like she might be running into yarn shops that are open on Sunday and then take Monday. And that, again, retail, especially with a small business, you have to strike the difference between, like, some people just think it's retail, you should be open every day. And
Walmart can, we can't.
Yeah, like a bigger business can. We're also the small business aspect of it. The guy we're talking about across the street, there's sometimes he's not so much closed, but he has someone else working the shop on Tuesday. And the way we run the business, it's hard to have only one of us here. Pre-COVID, we could kind of do it. During COVID, because we're not post-COVID yet, but this might carry on post-COVID. I mean, whatever post, it's not really post-COVID, living with COVID becomes, it really helps to have both of us here. And so it's hard to stagger and it's also hard as a small business to hire more people to cover more shifts. Like some retail businesses can do that. We don't have the turnover necessarily. Like we're doing okay, but we don't have the turnover we can do that. So I always find it fascinating. I'm not saying the person who wrote this email is implying this, but the people who are just like, but you should just be here for us. And so why aren't you open on the day I can come? When you wouldn't ask someone who works a desk job, not like Monday through Friday. Well, some people do expect desk jobs, just keep working on the weekend at home. But there's more of an acceptability to, you're not at the office, so you don't have to do work. Whereas I get emails 24/7 and I try not to, I try to give myself off time, but then I'm going to lose track of my emails. And, there's the whole like, hey, answer this quick question for me. It's not a bother, but consider
there are 50 other emails.
If there's 50 other people who have a really small question and it's not really a bother, it adds up. I do as best I can, but we're trying to give ourselves a 5-day work week. And I don't think that should be a crazy idea. Right. And again, this is not what she's implying. No. And I'm not judging her email. It's leading to a larger discussion.
Well, and it's self-care for the owner and the minion to take at least a day off, because to run 7 days a week, I mean,
No, I'm agreeing. I'm just being
I know.
sarcastic, you know,
but to run 7 days a week would kill you, if not both of us.
Mhm.
And you take Sunday off,
I try.
or try and split your Monday work between Sunday and Monday to where
Mhm.
there's some
Because
rest.
Monday the shop's not open. In some ways it's not open so I can do other things for the shop at home. We joke that Tuesdays are Monday, but
You've already
I've
had
been
two.
working all day on Monday.
Yeah.
And the people, and this is not everybody, but the people who are like, well, of course you need time off, but I need you to do X, Y, and Z for me. Or like, you should be able to just do this. It'll be no problem. It's funny. It's like, yeah, you know, or I never see anyone in your shop. So of course you have time to do this for me. When the time you come by, you don't see anyone in the shop. That doesn't mean that's how the shop exists in all eternity.
And,
you know?
and if there's no one in the shop and you come in, we're not just sitting and knitting. We might be in the afternoon.
We have moments where we try to do that's self-care, actually.
Yeah.
That's not oh well, nothing's happening and the shop is empty and you have nothing to do, so you're just gonna sit and knit all day. No, sometimes we actually force ourselves to sit down and knit for a few minutes for self-care. But I do think go ahead.
A lot of times we're putting down whatever rearranging or organizing yarn, making all the boxes look pretty.
It's like painting the Golden Gate Bridge. You get done with one end, you have to go back to the other and start again because the other end's already dull.
So, and then boxes come in and
then lots and lots of yarn comes in. But I do think it's fascinating that that the person who wrote in is finding that that's a trend in many places, because I do it because the yarn shop that I was raised on did it. I had no idea it was a wider thing. You know, like,
well, and we found over the last few weeks that Tuesday through Saturday is getting to be a more common thing for small business,
especially in COVID times.
Yeah.
Like, people are kind of scaling back and shifting to what works.
The lady who called about they're going to publishing, you said you knew that, like, they had
all my crazy hours from pre-pandemic
times. But it's a list of every yarn shop and fabric shop or whatever, and she had all the old COVID hours from last year, and
pre-COVID,
and she was just clarifying information before publication, and she goes, so what are your hours? Are they the same as this? And I said, no, it's Tuesday through Saturday 10 to 5. And she goes, we're finding a lot, like the majority of the shops are going to that.
And I've been hearing on the radio that a lot of people, like the pandemic has really had people really reevaluate what's important. And sometimes what's important is a more workable day. And when I first opened the shop, I had the Monday, you know, we're not gonna be open on, we still have people who are like, hey, I'll come by Monday. And it's like, we've never in 4 years been open on Monday, but that doesn't stick in people's heads because they have so many other things going on in their lives. Why would they remember the yarn shops closed on Mondays? Like, we remember because it's our entire life, basically. Yeah. But pre-pandemic, when I first opened the shop, I was open till 6 on most days, thinking like, people who get off work at 5, I have to try to give them time to get to the shop if they need to get stuff. So I'll stay here later. And then on knit nights, I'll stay here till 9 because it's social time. It just makes more sense. And we, during the peak seasons, we were adding a half day on Sunday to try not to burn out, but try to give people opportunity to hit us on the weekends. And
we did that mid-May through
December.
Yeah.
Like right up to Christmas. We might scale back like at the end of November, at the end of like leaf season and stuff. But you still see posts online, not necessarily directed at us, but directed at downtown businesses. Why aren't people open earlier so we can get in there before work? And why, like, everybody wants what's convenient to them, and everyone is inconvenienced by something that someone else does. And it was like, in theory, it'd be great to have the retail businesses open at hours that would work for people who have to work regular hours. That's fantastic, but that means the small businesses being open earlier and later, and they might be the only people who can work. And then suddenly, and usually that devolves into, well, I'm working hard at my job, you're just retail, or vice versa. Like everyone has their opinion of what they do and what someone else does and how they prioritize that. Everyone's jobs are important, and everyone is probably busting their butt at what they do. There's a really good chance. And because we dedicate ourselves to customer service and everything, if we were open earlier and later,
we'd be dead.
So,
you can't die in public. So,
and if I die, then she has to run the shop and like own the shop, and she doesn't want to do that. I don't have a legal document for that yet, but I keep threatening her with that. So, anyway, I mean, this has evolved. This is not so much about yarn, but it is fascinating that this person has found in their Google travels or actual travels that Monday is not a good day for yarn shops to be open. So, for me, it's a recharging of my home batteries, even if I'm working hard at home, to get ready for so many days in a row of trying to make sure that we give good customer service and we actually move product.
In the before time, when we were closed on Monday, you did take that mostly as a day of rest because it was the only day off we had during the summer.
And I would like come in Tuesday and write the newsletter that you all get on Monday if you're signed up for our newsletters. If you need, you can sign up on our website, sundragonartandfiber.com, or you can email me and I can add you to the newsletter list, or comment, or but I would sit down on Tuesdays and I would write the newsletter while I would try to keep it to business hours where at the shop are for business things, and when I'm not at the shop, I'm not doing business things. And I can't function like that anymore.
And it doesn't work. It even with me working, when you would do that, it got harder and harder to maintain. I've got to write the newsletter, and people would come in, and it just got harder and harder to go, hey, we got to leave Rebecca alone. Not because, but when you get,
I don't want to talk to people, go away.
No. Well, so she can finish her work. It's now
there's no back office here.
Yeah.
Either shop.
No, it's like with the video, publishing the video now.
Yeah.
Is some days it takes all the way until 4:00 in the afternoon because people come in, we're retail. They got to come in and buy yarn. So they come in, or they need help.
We have lessons, or we have, and we don't have a social media person. I'm it.
Yep.
I'm kind of half of everything at the shop. Liz does a whole lot too. Like I do all the computer stuff though. So
if it's on the computer, it's Rebecca's world.
But no, it's very true. And there's no back room for me to go to like focus and get it done.
We talked about that when we moved over here, that you could have a little, table like in the pit of despair.
And the pit of despair has no space for that. I mean, I've still brainstormed about that becoming where we could have a shipping station. If we go back to having classes, our class table right now is where all of our shipping supplies are. But right now there's the pit of despair has been transformed into a mostly box storage, mostly. So a lot of my hot mess has gone to my house, and it's still a hot mess there. So it's just what? So it's really fascinating. Like there was something else again. I almost said post-COVID brain, post-migraine brain. I'm still losing a little bit of what I was going to say, but there's still a lot that happens at home right now that, like, I'd love to make more progress knitting on the weekends, but I don't tend to knit very much on Mondays because between the newsletter and tips and tricks videos, which I've had to take a few weeks off from recently, that takes all day. That's what I was going to say is part of Monday right now too, is coming into town to go to therapy, which is one of the reasons I am not a hot mess all the time, just with migraines, on camera with you all. But around my therapy sessions, because the shop is not open to the public, I'll come in here and do an hour or two of cleanup and taking out recycling and breaking down boxes or organizing, like wading through patterns, doing the stuff that is really hard to do when we're open to the public. So again, the idea of downtime and self-care is kind of hard.
The big joke between us that I'm sure a lot of our knit nighters have heard is, hey, let's go reorganize that yarn. It's terribly quiet. Nobody's coming in. Downtown is quiet. And the minute we get into that and the shop looks like it's exploded, there's a knock at the door. So
yep,
it's
like if it's slow in the shop and we want to guarantee we'll have traffic, we go work on stuff in the bins where we can't see someone walking up. Almost guaranteed someone will walk up. But we have run out of time. So
sure
we need to wrap up. Well, it's my fault. I took up like half the episode with my stories about bears and mice and white squirrels, not all at the same time. I saw a lot of deer too, by the way. So, but they weren't as interesting because they're always there. So join us for Sit and Stitch tomorrow night, if you'd like, from 7 to 9 p.m. on Zoom. Shop phone number
828-877-3550.
We'll get you in. Our next weekend Sit and Stitch on Sunday will not be until October 17th, I think it is. So we have a few weeks before that happens, but this is the last day of September. So we're heading into a new month, which is kind of fantastic. We are so close to giving you a YouTube sale. Oh my gosh.
We were
last
back
check
to 96.
596. We're like, which 100 are we in? 596. We are like 4 people away. Maybe, push it to 6 so we're confidently over 600.
Because Avi will take his numbers off.
Avi will subscribe and unsubscribe from home because he's bored now because there's no mouse. There'll be another mouse. I know where there's one mouse, there's many. But get us to 600. Like 4 of you out there, maybe 6 or 10, just to be on the safe side. If you're watching and not subscribed, please consider subscribing because you could be the person who earns everybody watching a sale. And I'm still debating how big that sale is going to be. So get us to 600 so we can find out. Ooh. All right. What would be lovely is if we can come on the air Tuesday and give you a sale. But we need numbers that, if they hit 600, they could dip to 599. So we need numbers that are consistently at 600 or above. That would be even more exciting. So please consider subscribing. If you are subscribed and have a little extra cash in your pocket every month and don't need to buy yarn, or even if you are buying yarn, you can support us over on Patreon too. You could be a patron that is listed at the end of these videos by going to patreon.com/sundragon. And I'm in my infomercial voice now.
You are.
But we need to go. Have a good weekend. If you're not joining us for Sit and Stitch, we will see you on Tuesday. And I hope you enjoyed this very philosophical discussion about retail, basically, but from the yarn shop angle. So, okay, we have to go because speaking of retail, we should be open and trying to sell people yarn. No one's walked up yet, but the day is young and I have a 10:30 appointment. So bye.